How do elite athletes leverage natural talent, speed, and power to pull off epic wins? From high school football players transforming into NFL draft picks, to $2 million racehorses getting in prime condition for the Kentucky Derby. Here's how athletes in different sports train for greatness. Our first stop is Iceland, a country famous for its Viking lore and a place that's still home to giants like Halfthor Bjornsson.
Keep going.
Even for one of the world's strongest men, pulling 400 kilograms or nearly 900 pounds is no easy feat. Known for his role as the Mountain in Game of Thrones, Halfthor does more than crush heads. He's crushed the competition in strongman events since 2009, winning the title of World's Strongest Man in 2018. We caught up with Thor 1 week before the 2024 Rogue Invitational in Aberdeen, Scotland, to see how he preps for a strongman meet.
I'd be lying if I said that I was fresh. Usually, week out, your body is pretty much defeated. You are tired, you are sore, and you want to rest.
To prepare, Thor trains at the gym he owns in his hometown, just outside Reykjavik. It's a place where both weightlifters and fans can stop by, work out, and meet the Mountain himself.
I feel so small.
Today's warm-up starts with some 230 kilogram squats. For Thor, these sets are basically just maintenance. They're not even close to his max.
I'm tapering everything down. I'm doing less sets, less volume, so I'll be able to recover fully and be fully prepared for the competition.
And with 1 week to go, his main focus today is on one event.
The power drive, which is going to be spicy.
At Rogue, competitors will roll a 340 kilogram cylinder shaped like a hay bale, then lift a 170 kilogram sandbag shaped like a famous Icelandic lifting stone and carry it 40 feet. Finally, they'll haul a 295 kilogram sled 40 feet back towards them. Today, Thor and his teammates will simulate this event in the gym.
Han Fista said that he's in first place.
I'm
he's
last.
safe.
I'm last.
You're safe for now. Woo! Okay. These guys?
Got it plastic.
Han is the first one to go.
It's an incredible test of strength and speed, but one wrong move could cost you the title.
I did some mistake in this run myself. When I was picking up the sandbag, I didn't grab it the right way first. I had to re-grip it and take it, so I lost some valuable seconds there.
But mistake or not, Thor's son, Stormer, is impressed with the effort. Training to be a strongman isn't just about lifting heavy weights. Thor also integrates cardio into his routine.
Twice a week I go on a treadmill for half an hour.
And he needs to follow a strict diet to bulk up and incorporate plenty of rest to avoid injury.
When we push our bodies to the absolute limits, there is a high risk of getting injured. And I've been very lucky throughout my career without getting too many injuries.
Thor's father makes sure his meals are packed with protein.
Yes, I cook all the food for Halfthor every day, 6 days a week. He has one cheat day.
He consumes nearly 10,000 calories daily. That's over 3 times the intake of an average American.
350 gram rice, 125 grams tenderloin, 100 grams vegetable, cauliflower, broccoli, peppers, onion and carrots. And this is avocado.
His daily intake includes a smoothie made with Greek yogurt, orange juice, and olive oil.
I drink that with meals most of the time.
And another drink with frozen berries and almond butter.
It's really f***ing nice. You blend together, it's like a dessert in the evenings.
By the start of the Rogue Invitational, Thor has been training for about 8 months. On the first day, he won the raw deadlift, pulling a weight of 458 kilograms, 43 kilos shy of his world record. He also won the invert challenge. But on the second day, he wasn't as successful. Facing off in his heat against Mitchell Hooper, Thor fell behind in the first part of the power drive. He was able to recover time in the sled pull and pass Hooper in the final seconds. But it wasn't enough to beat Tom Stoltman.
Tied for second place with 44 points also, Hafþór the Thor Bjornsson.
But taking home silver isn't deterring the mountain from reaching new heights. In early 2025, he'll attempt to break his own record and achieve what no strongman has done before, the 505 kilogram deadlift.
I think there are a few guys out there that are capable of it with the right preparation. I'm definitely capable of it. If I get the right opportunity, I will break it.
Yeah, baby! Yes!
Many people ask me weird questions, and one of them is, Alexi, do you have bones? And I often say, yes, I do have bones, but before I go to work, I leave them at home.
This is Alexi Giloborotka, the world's best contortionist.
I train 3 to 5 hours per day to maintain my flexibility and my other disciplines that I have in my act. I control my body in all the shapes, all the positions as I want. And it feels awesome. It's like having a superpower.
Alexi is a contortionist for the traveling circus company Cirque du Soleil. He's one of 45 performers from 19 different nationalities, traveling with the show Lucia. Alexi grew up in Tula, Russia, and has been practicing contortionism since he was just 4 years old.
When I was a kid, I asked my parents to take me to a circus show just to watch it for fun. And the next day, I asked my mom to take me to a circus studio. I told her that I fell in love with circus. And since then, I've been doing contortion, and it's almost 20 years. I started when I was 4, now I'm 24.
Alexi began performing with Cirque du Soleil's Lucia 3 years ago. His show celebrates the culture, history, and mythology of Mexico by bringing to life a surreal Mexican-themed dream. It was the first Cirque du Soleil show to incorporate water into the set design. And Alexi has been traveling and contorting with Lucia for hundreds of shows across North America, and he quickly gained fame for his mind-bending movements.
It's a huge responsibility to be the best contortionist in the world, to be the most flexible male in the world, because I have many fans, and it's a huge responsibility not to drop your level from here to there, because if you drop your level, you disappoint them. And I feel like I don't have rights to disappoint my public. I don't have rights to disappoint my people.
We caught up with Alexi during his warm-up before the premiere of Lucia in New York City.
My genre is called dancing contortion. It's a mix of different disciplines. The base is contortion, being bendy and flexible. And other disciplines such as hand balance, elements of rhythmic gymnastic, elements of ballet dance, elements of modern dance are maintained in my acts.
Alexi warms up for about 40 to 45 minutes before each show. It's one of 5 stretching and cardio sessions he has throughout the day. He has to keep his body limber and loose, so he doesn't hurt himself.
For practice, for training, I'm very aware of each movement I do, because when I stretch, I have to keep everything under control, not to injure myself. But when I perform, I mostly think about my character in the act. I think about my presence on stage.
Not only does Alexi constantly have to strengthen his body, but contortionism also demands a steady mind. It's similar to yoga, and he has to learn to control his thoughts and be present with his body through each movement.
The hardest part is to maintain the balance between flexibility and strength. Because if I get too loose, too flexible, and I don't care about my strength, I cannot control properly what I do. On the other hand, if I get too strong, I'm gonna start losing flexibility.
It's now about 3 hours before the show, and Alexi begins his makeup routine. These 45 minutes help him get into character. Alexi portrays a mythical creature called an alebrijes.
It's a Mexican creature that combines in itself many different animals, such as swan, panther, scorpion, snake, and all these animals are all in one is alebrije. And this is me. It's my interpretation of this creature.
He worked with a choreographer for 6 months to bring the creature to life. And as his skills have developed through the years, so has his act. Once makeup's done, Alexi is ready to debut his Alebrijes persona to New York City. But before he comes on in Act 2, other master acrobats take the stage. There was hoop diving on treadmills, adagio acrobatics, steer wheel and trapeze, hand balancing, masts and poles, aerial straps, and juggling. Then finally, a dark form on a platform is rolled out onto a candlelit stage. The crowd goes dead quiet. Slowly, Alexi unravels, and people shriek.
Many different reactions I received. Sometimes they are just mesmerized and I can see complete silence in the audience. I can hear almost nothing when I perform besides music. It's very impressive. You're just performing in the silence. It's amazing. And the other reaction, when they go crazy and they scream, and sometimes people scream so hard that I cannot hear accents in the music. My goal is to mesmerize, to impress, and to make them go crazy.
He twists and flips, and you're unsure which body part is which. He fluidly contorts into shape after shape. The best contortionist in the world strikes his last pose. Head between his legs, chest on the floor. And the audience erupts.
I really love it because I realize how much I can express myself with my body and I don't need anything else. Just body and that's it.
Just one Kentucky Derby horse can cost over $2 million. And it takes a lot more money to get them ready for the big race.
They say no foot, no horse. That's what they say.
But there are tiny odds this horse, Mystic Dan, will actually win.
You're always hopeful when you have a baby that maybe it could be the one.
And there's another race going on behind the scenes. Thousands of people are hustling to get the century-old track at Churchill Downs ready for Derby Day. From the gardeners,
I want the Kentucky Derby winner's circle to be extra beautiful on Derby Day,
to the chefs feeding an audience so large, it could fill 7 Super Bowl stadiums.
We literally have schedules minute by minute by minute.
Honestly, I wish there was more than 24 hours in a day.
So how do all the staff set the stage for the largest horse race in the US? And what does it take to win? Sherilyn Gasaway and her family are part owners of Mystic Dan.
I know what you want. Yes, he loves his peppermints.
This is Cheryl's first Derby race. Mystic Dan has just one chance of winning in his entire lifetime. All horses running in the Kentucky Derby must be 3 years old, not 1 year older or younger. They aren't fully mature at that age, which adds uncertainty and makes betting more exciting.
He's got this beautiful stripe down his face, and I love that because I can see him when he's running. I can kind of pick him out of a group and know it's him.
Sherilyn has bet on Mystic since he was a baby.
My husband thinks that horses, once they smell you and know you, that they know you forever, and I kind of seem to feel like that's true too.
She's a part owner of his mother and helped pay $10,000 to mate her with a horse that won the Breeders' Cup, one of the biggest horse races in the world.
There's about 10,000 colts born a year, and 20 of those get to be in the Kentucky Derby. So it is a dream of a lifetime.
If Mystic wins, the prize is $3.1 million, and Sherilyn would split 80% of it with the other owners.
If you win on Saturday, you'll get the whole bag.
But Sherilyn says for her family, it's not really about the money.
They're like my babies. I really want to take care of them. That's the most important thing to me.
Brian Hernandez Jr. will ride Mystic Dan in 3 days. He could take 6% of the purse.
It's the pinnacle of our sport, you know, it's what we all want to do. So to win the Derby is, it's a feeling that I can't describe because I've never done it.
Brian has been training with Mystic every day for the past year. Today, he's taking Mystic for his morning workout on the Churchill Downs track. Mystic can go as fast as 37 miles per hour. Most horses don't run the entire 1.25 mile long track at full speed when they train because it's so exhausting. They usually sprint in shorter intervals. The dirt track makes the Derby especially hard to run. Horses' feet sink, increasing the risks of an ankle twist.
Do you ever get scared out there?
No, we've been doing it so long, this is like second nature to us. I'm more scared going out snow skiing than I am getting on the back of a racehorse.
Only 20 horses make it into the Kentucky Derby. They have to earn enough points in qualifying races. Mystic Dan got the 18th spot. After competing in 3, which cost his owners $24,000 to enter.
They say it's the road to the Kentucky Derby. It is.
Entering the Derby itself costs another $50,000 in fees.
Anytime anybody says, "Ooh, I wish I could buy a racehorse," I'm like, well, buying the horse is not the part. It's really the training every month. So with all the transportation bills and vet bills and all that stuff, I mean, it can be $3,000 or $4,000 a month.
Brian hands Mystic Dan off to this guy, the hot walker, who cools him down.
These horses, they need care 24 hours a day, so these guys have to sit out here and watch over them.
They'll lap around the barn for about 30 minutes. If horses don't cool down, their legs could cramp up, damaging their muscles.
He's one of those rare type of horses that he's a people pleaser. He wants to please you and do whatever you ask him to do.
Kenny McPeak is Mystic's trainer, and he's confident he can take first place. Kenny has trained 10 Derby horses throughout his career, but has never won. He gets 10% of the purse if Mystic wins. And he'll use some of it to pay bonuses to his staff.
You've got to have an exceptionally talented horse. He's very quiet. Nothing disturbs him. You could set off a bomb in between his legs and he wouldn't know.
In the months leading up to the race, Kenny plans out every hour of Mystic's day.
Everything has to be choreographed every day. Organizing grooms, hot walkers, riders, assistants, jockeys. Some horses really like repetition, and they like to know what they're doing every day and what time. It's kind of like people.
But they don't always enjoy bath time.
How do you calm him down when he gets crazy?
Like talk to the horse. Like, oh, baby, easy, baby, you know.
Grooms like Henry bathe the horses after morning runs. He washes the same 4 every day. If one of them wins, he could make $30,000.
How would you feel knowing that a horse you've been watching wins?
Well, nothing normal, you know. Maybe one day I get a one.
Grooms typically make about $20 an hour. The shampoo they're using can cost about 3 times that. The conditioner, $180, plus tack on another $80 for shine-enhancing moisturizer. From their heads down to their hoofs. Nothing that touches these horses is cheap, including their uniforms, like this bit and the bridle.
It's probably like a $200 and something bridle.
Fancier ones can cost over $600. Then you have saddles, whose prices range from hundreds to thousands of dollars. But most important of all are their shoes.
There are all sorts of different types of shoes.
Zane Bays is a 4th-generation farrier, or shoer at Churchill Downs.
Normally shoeing a horse like this is going to be in the $200 range. And blue ones are going to cost you anywhere from $400 to $500 probably.
Just one of its 4 shoes can get auctioned off for over $80,000 if a horse wins. Horses' hooves are essentially layers of keratin that don't stop growing.
Like the tip of your fingernail that you would go, you know, like with a pair of fingernail clippers. So I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to take that and nip that off of there. I'm looking for flat and balanced.
Farriers change horses' shoes every 4 to 5 weeks. Most of them are made of aluminum, with a steel insert to reinforce the toe.
This horse has a little bit of bruising in that foot. But by putting that shoe on there, it's going to protect the bottom of that foot. And most of that bruising will subside by the next time we shoe him.
nails lock the shoe in place.
I'm basically tying his shoe nice and snug. I have to pay attention to his mannerisms. Some of them can be just downright mean. So you kind of have to be in tune with that. They are, 1,200-pound animals. If I do my job correctly, they can do their job. And on to the next appointment.
Back in the barn, Mystic Dan is almost ready for his morning nap. That's when his groom, Raphael, takes over. Everyone here calls him Chico. He spends about an hour bandaging Mystic Dan.
We gotta take care about their legs because if they kick or something like that, they get a cut, they get infection, and that's what we had to put bandage on every day.
Wrapping horses' legs also supports their tendons during intense workouts.
That's feeling something special. See, this is an easy horse to work with him. He's so sweet. He never bothers. He just like he is now. He never is moving, never trying to bite, never kicking. Yeah, he's a nice horse, sweet horse.
Chico is originally from Mexico and has been working here for 16 years.
That's the groom's dream, to have a horse in the Kentucky Derby. That's why we work.
Routines like this are essential to lower their chances of getting hurt. In 2023, 12 horses were euthanized after suffering injuries on or near the track. Churchill Downs says there were multiple causes for those injuries, and they do everything to minimize risks. They have since updated their safety protocols, including more frequent vet checkups and additional track maintenance. The Kentucky Derby is the longest continuously run sporting event in U.S. history. A prominent American businessman, Meriwether Lewis Clark Jr., built the track 150 years ago to showcase Kentucky's horse breeding industry. The event was modeled after British races. Spectators were socialites who wore hats to display their social standing.
And they're off! 15 cracked thoroughbreds in the 68th running of the Mint Julep Classic.
Since the first Derby in 1875, horses have raced here every year, even during World War I. World War II,
Churchill Downs announces a $50,000 war bond purchase.
And the global pandemic.
Shutout leads them home. Winner by more than 2 lengths. Shutout earns more than $64,000, a record Derby purse.
One of the oldest traditions is this ring of flowers that adorns the winner's circle.
These guys will pot those up.
Matt Bizzell is in charge of growing those, and all other flowers that adorn the event, at Churchill Downs' very own greenhouse.
We grew about 800 of these. These go in the Kentucky Derby Winner's Circle. For as long as we have pictures going back there, it's been red geraniums or red begonias in there.
He's been running this place for the past 15 years, but he still gets nervous before Derby Day.
I wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning and start worrying about work this time of year.
In total, the gardening crew grows about 20,000 annuals. These plants will die at the end of the year, and they aren't cheap.
That might be $7 or $8, and you take that times 20,000, it is a lot of money that we have in this greenhouse.
But there's no guarantee they'll even last through Derby week. He says up to 5,000 get trampled on race day.
You'll see people sitting on the edge of those pots, so a lot of those pots will have broken flowers in them.
How do you feel when you see that?
It is aggravating, but it has happened so much over the years that I think I'm used to it. So also, it doesn't do any good to yell at people on Derby days, so.
Lavish menus are also a big part of the Derby. And behind the scenes, a team of cooks is racing against the clock.
Each day has about 40 different menus track-wide.
Chef Robert Lopez runs a kitchen of 100 executive chefs and 1,500 supporting staff. That's not a lot of people, considering they're serving 400,000 guests in under a week. So that's 7 Super Bowls worth of food.
We bring in chefs from all over the country.
The team has to stay relatively small because they're working in tight quarters. They're ordering 10,000 pounds of smoked brisket and thousands of chicken breasts from local farms, and 1,000 pounds of cheese. Most of it arrives just days before the Derby in about 1,100 semi-trucks. Some of it gets here on race day at about 4 a.m.
So how do you keep yourself going through that?
Lots of caffeine.
And then there are the drinks. The mint juleps are the best seller. They bring in about $2.5 million in sales.
We're doing 1,000 pounds of mint, more than 20,000 bottles of bourbon.
This is Brandon Fullen. He oversees all the drink orders.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of cans of Coca-Cola. We're going to be going through pallets of water every hour all across the track.
Could you give me an idea of the number of bottles?
I couldn't possibly.
Everything leads up to this one moment. This year, more than 155,000 people crammed into Churchill Downs to watch the Run for the Roses live. Worldwide, people bet more than $320 million on the race, surpassing last year's record by over $30 million. No matter how much homework bettors do, there's always a little luck involved.
Honestly, you know, you can go, I want to pick this stallion and I want to pick this person, we're going to produce the best horse. But you know, we're not in control of that. I just have faith that he's going to do really well, and so just trusting in that.
We weren't allowed to film the race. Mystic had a good start in lane 3. He lost the lead and ran in the middle of the pack for most of the race. Until he came around the bend and took the lead. The finish was so close, it was impossible to tell who won at first. But the final photo confirmed Mystic Dan won by the length of his nose. Earning his team a record-breaking $3.1 million of the total purse.
It's so special. It really is special to see him make it here. Because we've had him since he was a baby, that's just even more special.
As for Mystic Dan, he got the whole bag of peppermints.
Fighting in mud, training for hours, and going years without seeing family. This is kushti, a traditional form of Indian wrestling.
ऐसा है कि मतलब जैसे देखो रेसलर बनने के लिए पूरा मतलब सारा कुछ त्यागना पड़ता है.
Mauli Jumdade left his rural hometown when he was 15 to join this academy in Kolhapur. Today, he lives and trains at the century-old Gangavesh Talim. This sport is a way out of poverty for many farming families. In just over a decade, Mauli has become one of the top fighters here, earning up to $4,000 from one competition. But India has shifted to favor wrestling on the mat over mud, and the tradition that goes back 2,500 years is dwindling. So what does it take to be one of India's mud wrestlers? And how is this traditional sport still standing? Becoming a kushti fighter is all about discipline. Mauli wakes up at 3:55 a.m. every day. He starts his training sessions at dawn with some of the other 200 wrestlers who live here. They use their own and each other's body weight to build strength.
क्यों सारा कुछ लगा के सारी मतलब हर चीज़ की जान लगा के मतलब प्रैक्टिस भी करनी पड़ती है और हर चीज़ मतलब जान लगा के कुछ करनी पड़ती है.
They train 6 days a week, often under coach Vishwas Hargule. Mauli has been working with him since he joined the academy.
मतलब सारा कुछ ध्यान रखा, जैसे मतलब अपने बच्चे को ध्यान रखते ना, वैसा ध्यान रखा उन्होंने मेरा.
Vishwas has trained over 1,000 kids, and he doesn't go easy on them.
उसको मतलब लाड़ प्यार से नहीं, फिर मेहनत होने के बाद उससे लाड़ प्यार करो, वो चलेगा. लेकिन मेहनत करते वक्त अगर तुम लाड़ प्यार करोगे तो बच्चा मतलब नहीं करेगा.
In the afternoon, they hit the mud pit. Wrestlers warm up by preparing the dirt floor. They clear away stones and smooth it out. The dirt is mixed with turmeric, lemon, and salt to help wrestlers' injuries heal faster. It's swapped out every couple of years and sent to smaller talims. Many see the red soil as sacred because without it, they wouldn't have a career.
इसके कारण यहाँ की मिट्टी मिल गई, मतलब भाग्य खुल गया बोलते हैं.
Before a match, Mauli warms up his joints with oil and starts planning.
1-1.5 घंटा पहले जो स्टडी होती है कुश्ती की, जिसके साथ कुश्ती है, मतलब जैसे कि मेरा कोई अपोजिट है, उसके बारे में ये क्या करता है, ये कौन से दाव लगाता है, मैं उस पर कौन से दाव लगाऊं.
Wrestlers cover themselves in dirt at the start of each match to create more friction between their bodies. This is just practice, so there's no winner or loser. But Mauli still gives it his all.
पहलवानों का ऐसा है कि वो उसकी मंजिल कभी पूरी नहीं हुई.
The goal is to pin the opponent's shoulders to the soil. They use moves similar to other forms of wrestling, like locks and throws. Mauli and his opponent reapply the soil as they sweat to get a better grip. With their feet planted in the dirt, wrestlers move slowly. A real match can last as long as 1 hour. By the end, they're soaked in mud.
कुछ नहीं ऐसा ना, वो तो बढ़िया फील होता है क्योंकि हम आदत सी है मिट्टी की, तो कुछ नहीं लगता है ऐसे, तो बढ़िया लगती है.
Mauli isn't done for the day when the practice match is over.
बॉडी तो पूरी थकी हुई है, लेकिन अभी भी बाकी है थोड़ा सा वर्कआउट, वो पूरा करेंगे.
Mud wrestling has roots that date back to at least the 5th century BC. It evolved out of an ancient form of Indian wrestling, mixed with Persian martial arts. The sport thrived in Kolhapur at the turn of the 20th century. The district's ruler, Shahu Maharaj, was a fan of the art and built talims all over the region, including this one. But mud fighting saw a shift about 15 years ago, when India started prioritizing mat wrestling. The government wanted its athletes to compete internationally, so many talims had to adapt and started investing in mats, including this one.
कैसे है मैट और मट्टी, मैट पे तो ज़रूरी है, मतलब इस वक्त में मैट पे ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि मैट पे करोगे तुम ओलंपिक तक जा सकते हो.
But here they still practice in the traditional mud pits, because they believe it makes them better wrestlers on the mat too.
कैसा है कि आज मतलब हर गेम में कुछ ना कुछ चेंज होता ही रहता है, तो जो पहले वाला अपना है वो रखना ही चाहिए.
Mud wrestling competitions, called dangals, still draw crowds in Kolhapur. And they always open with a ceremony, playing traditional Indian horns and drums. The cash prizes for this tournament depend on how much money the dangal organizers were able to raise from local fans. Young wrestlers take home just a small part of the pool, sometimes around $1 per win. But older, more experienced fighters can walk away with up to $1,000. That's why low-income families often send their kids to live at talims, hoping they'll get good enough to make a living. Fighters also live and train for free, but there's little comfort. Most of them sleep in shared dorms that can fit up to 50 people at a time. And with packed schedules every day, they rarely get the chance to visit home. Mauli has gone up to 4 years without seeing his family.
कि घर वालों की याद आएगी, मैं घर चला जाऊंगा तो मेरा वो टारगेट जो बना हुआ है वो पूरा नहीं होगा.
But the wrestlers find family in each other.
घर वालों की तरह जैसे भाई भाई रहते ना वैसे रहते हम सारे यहाँ पे, क्योंकि जैसे एक घर ही है हमारा ये सारा पूरा. कंपटीशन के टाइम कंपटीशन, बाकी टाइम हम एक भाई के जैसे रहते हैं सारे लोग.
Mauli's dedication has paid off. He says he earns up to $55,000 in a 4-month season. It would take a typical farming family over 35 years to make that much. Getting to that level takes a lot of time and practice, which is why kids start young.
यहाँ रेसलिंग ऐसी है कि बड़ी उम्र में नहीं हो सकती.
Some of the youngest are here for just the summer, so the Talim is especially crowded this time of year. But during the height of the pandemic, it looked completely different. Wrestlers couldn't make any money for 2 years when competition stopped.
मतलब उस टाइम तो ऐसा लग रहा था कि पहलवानी ख़त्म हो जाएगी, क्योंकि जो गरीब घर के बच्चे थे उनके पास पैसा नहीं था, वो तो मतलब अखाड़ा छोड़ चले गए थे और उस टाइम सारे अखाड़े बंद थे.
Wrestlers are responsible for their own food and expenses, and those costs can add up, especially with the diets they have to maintain.
जितना प्रोटीन बॉडी को मिलेगा वो बॉडी उतनी आगे प्रैक्टिस के लिए ये देगी, सपोर्ट देगी.
Most days they eat chicken, lamb, and eggs. But today is Saturday, so they're making vegetarian dal.
क्योंकि शनिवार हमारे यहाँ पे मतलब हनुमान जी का मानते हैं, उसका व्रत भी रखते हैं शनिवार को, इसके कारण वो शनिवार नहीं खाते हम.
Mauli is now a veteran at this Talim, mentoring the younger wrestlers. But he still remembers his first day here.
वहाँ बहुत कंपटीशन था, बहुत मतलब आगे बहुत सारे पहलवान थे मेरे आगे, बहुत बड़े बड़े पहलवान थे. उनको देख के ही मुझे मतलब मैं बनने की ये हो गया.
Now he's treated like a celebrity.
और मिट्टी वालों पहलवानों को ही पसंद करती है और उनको ही पहचानती है ज़्यादा. बढ़िया लगता है क्योंकि जो मैंने प्रैक्टिस की है, वर्जिश की है, उसका ये हो गया लगता है ऐसे.
Mauli hopes to keep wrestling for another decade, and he believes the ancient tradition of kushti isn't going anywhere.
नहीं तो मतलब जैसे पहले से ही मिट्टी वाली कुश्ती है और बहुत देर तक मिट्टी वाली कुश्ती चलेगी.
Aboard the world's largest cruise ship, 6,600 passengers pay a premium to be entertained every single day. That's why Royal Caribbean hires serious athletes to perform up to 9 shows a week. They get paid to travel the world and show off their talents to millions of cruisegoers. But the job isn't always easy. Performers can work 11 months straight without a single holiday, and they do it all on a moving stage in the middle of the ocean.
That is the biggest thing to get used to, is the rock of the ship. When you're going to do a jump and you expect the floor to be here, but the floor is here, or the floor is here.
We went behind the scenes with the principal character of the Aqua Show to see what it's really like to be a performer on a cruise ship. Aboard Royal Caribbean's Symphony of the Seas, there are ice shows, Broadway-style plays, and an aqua performance.
Hi, I'm Ariana Mazzagatti. I go by Maz here in the Royal Caribbean world. I am the aerialist for the show Hero on the Symphony of the Seas, and I am also the aqua captain.
Maz is in charge of 20 other performers in the cruise line's original show, Hero. It tells the story of 3 warring clans, and Maz's character brings peace between them. To bring her powerful character to life, Maz is strapped into a 3D flying apparatus that allows her to flip and run above the crowd, with only wires holding her up. Maz is part of the show's 3rd cast. She's American, which is rare among performers on board. They are from all over the world, and they're all accomplished athletes, professional slackliners, Olympic-level divers, and world-renowned martial artists.
The athletes who are the divers and the synchronized swimmers and our martial arts specialists, they go in, they train for 10 hours a day, they do competitions, that's all they do.
But Maz says being an athlete doesn't necessarily prepare you for taking on performances at sea.
I've grown up as an athlete and I've grown up as a performer, and they're 2 very different things. Performers, we come in, we're thinking about what we look like on stage, how we're performing. It's such a different mindset. So coming in and being able to mesh those two together can sometimes be a challenging process.
Like many of her fellow castmates, Maz never planned on being a cruise ship performer. On a whim, she tried out for Royal Caribbean her junior year of college and beat out thousands of others for a spot. The cruise line hires only about 4% of performers who try out worldwide.
It's as difficult to get into a ship show as it is to get into a Broadway or a West End or a Cirque du Soleil show.
And in 2015, Maz got the call from Royal Caribbean. She dropped out of college and has been performing on cruise ships ever since. Symphony of the Seas is Maz's 6th contract with Royal Caribbean. After getting a role in Hero, the show's performers head to Royal Caribbean's training facility in Florida. This is where they spend 2 months learning and perfecting the routine. Then they're off to sea. Their stage? The tricked out Aqua Theater, aboard the world's largest cruise ship. It's made up of the deepest pool at sea, with a transforming bottom, 30-foot diving towers, a trampoline, and tight ropes suspended above the crowd. The new digs take some getting used to.
You're brought from those plain gray studios with mirrors into this, and you're relearning everything because it all changes. The water, the weight of the costumes, the quick changes backstage, the makeup changes, the hair changes. It adds so many new elements that you could not even dream of during rehearsals. We have a completely another rehearsal process here as well to relearn the show, basically.
In no time, they're performing live at the 600-person theater.
It takes about maybe 2 or 3 weeks to get into the zone and to feel 1000%. You're not so stressed anymore.
So far, this cast is about a third of the way through its 11-month contract. The performers don't get a single holiday break during their run, and they typically do 1 to 2 shows a day, 6 days a week. Before any performance, Maz usually hits the gym for about an hour. Then she comes to the theater to run a safety test on the 3D flyer. The flyer is made up of a harness and 4 sets of wires connected to the ship. The technology is pretty complex and can move her on 4 axes. But the tech is proprietary to Royal Caribbean, so we couldn't get too close. After Maz is all set on the wires, she stretches, then heads downstairs to the secret 4.5 deck of the ship to put on her makeup and get into costume. Maz and her castmates do all their own makeup. Once the show starts, Maz stays hidden through the opening. Then she quietly climbs on a platform at the back of the audience, while a crew member straps her into the harness.
The harness is very tight so that I do not fall out. So the pain is necessary. I can't necessarily say you get used to it because every day it might be in a different spot, so you're just bruising a new spot.
The flying mechanism already has a routine programmed into it. So once a crew member hits a button in the production box, she soars above the crowd. While suspended, Maz uses her body to control her flips and spins.
If I get too turned to the front, or if my arm is out of place, or if my chin is forward, it'll send me rocking back and forth like this, and I'll never be able to control it back because it just sends you. And once you get a pull in the wire, it'll just keep going.
Throughout her contract, Maz and her castmates will do the same routine 200 times, using the same muscles every day. That's why they're required to keep in shape and constantly work out their bodies. But that's not the only challenge. Remember, they're performing at sea. If it's windy, she's blown around.
If it's rocking, sometimes the wires will pull harder on one side, so I have to work around and be able to preemptively move my body in a way that if I know a rock is coming, I have to put more on one side than the other so that I can even out myself with the rock.
All these things affect other aqua performers too. A bob in the ship could affect the balance of a tightrope walker. If it's rocky, where a diver hits the water could be totally different from where they intended to when they left the platform. If conditions are too bad, say high winds or a rainstorm with lightning, they'll postpone the performance.
Every day is an absolute adventure, whether that be a difficult adventure, you're tired, we work a lot, we have safety duties that I don't think a lot of people necessarily even realize. We have so many more duties than just coming out and performing.
Even with all this responsibility, there are some pretty sweet perks. Now, Royal Caribbean wouldn't share how much performers are paid, but the cruise line did say they get benefits and free housing on board. Performers live in the crew quarters on the lower decks.
We have roommates, so 2 live to a cabin. There are a few who have their own cabin, And then as aqua captain, I get my own cabin.
We weren't allowed to see the crew quarters, but we were told that they have their own mess hall, grocery store, and even a dance club. Performers also have a few perks that all other crew members don't. They can use the passenger gym, eat at the reservation-only restaurants, hit up any of the shows, and even enjoy the pools. Plus, they get to travel for free. This contract with Symphony of the Seas sails in the Caribbean, docking in St. Martin, Puerto Rico, St. Thomas, and the Bahamas. But Maz has been to tons of other places on her other 5 contracts, including Brazil, Asia, and the Mediterranean.
I will do this until my body physically cannot move. We are paid to dance or sing or dive or ice skate or synchronized swim, and we are paid to travel at the same time, and that's the best part about it.
This is one of the most difficult sports in the world to play.
You're grabbing, you're pushing, you're kicking.
There's no rest. Our rest is work. I'm counting the clock, I'm watching the ball.
You're talking about the greatest women's water polo program of all time.
The U.S. women's water polo team is on the brink of making history at the 2024 Paris Olympics. No other women's national team has won gold more than once, and the U.S. is going for its 4th.
The legacy of the USA women's water polo team is a tremendous one. They've won the last 3 Olympic golds. They've won 8 world championships. They have set quite literally a gold standard in the sport that every other country is currently chasing.
Water polo is a team endeavor, but every sport has players who set the standard for greatness.
Ashley Johnson, one of the greatest goalies to ever play the game.
She's one of the best goalkeepers in the world, maybe the sport has ever seen.
Ashley, as an athlete, is ferocious. She puts her all into her game.
Water polo is pretty physical. Like, a lot of people kick, a lot of people grab suit.
One of the hardest parts about water polo is it's 2 games, underwater and over water. You are pushing yourself past your limits physically, mentally, emotionally, every single day.
We filmed with Team USA in June 2024 as they prepared for one of their final matches before heading to the Olympics.
I hate to lose, and that's kind of sometimes what drives me to win. I'm like, I want to win. Like, I'm gonna win at all costs.
So what makes water polo such a brutal sport? And how do you become second to none?
I mean, someone turned the alarm off over there. We're 5 weeks away from going to the Olympic Games. At this stage, we want to do everything well. We got you clowns aren't ready to train this week, still on vacation in Barcelona. We got the age group kids over there. I got water in my shoes. I'm glad we got this on TV. This is the life of the U.S. women's national team.
This year's roster includes seasoned Olympians like goalkeeper Ashley Johnson, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, attacker Maddie Musselman, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, and team captain Maggie Steffens, a 3-time Olympic gold medalist. All led by coach Adam Krikorian.
I think everyone understands the physicality, and I think when you watch, you might think it's hard, and it is hard. But what's even harder is what's done here in practice. I got news for you. I cannot play. I cannot tell you what to do. When you are playing, think about it.
And once we get halfway, jog out the right.
I woke up probably around 5:45. It takes me about 30 minutes to drive here. We usually do like warm up for about 15 to 20 minutes. And usually Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays we lift in the mornings before we swim.
For elite players, leg strength is key. This helps them execute a fundamental but challenging maneuver called the egg beater, which they'll use in the pool later.
If you see us in the gym, we're doing heavy squats, we're doing things that are fast so that we get those fast twitch muscles going, and working with bouncing tennis balls when you can't see the tennis ball coming at you from behind, and then it might change direction. It might come a little faster, one might come a little slower. So it helps us react in the moment to whatever is coming.
And that training pays off. The average save percentage for a women's water polo goalie is between 45 and 58%. Ashley's average is above that. At the 2016 Rio Olympics, she ended the games with a save percentage of nearly 65%.
Going into today's practice, it's a little hot, so I'm excited to get in the water.
One minute. Next bottom. Next bottom.
Chris Oding, he's our swim coach pretty much. You usually swim like 3,000 yards.
4s. 5s.
And then usually do some stations, passing, shooting, like usually working on specific defenses or specific teams that we're gonna see at the Olympics.
Hey, so we're working specifically on our shot blocking. Maybe you're diving in on the block because you don't want to leave one open.
Shot!
Hey, hold up. You're not ready to train at all this week. I mean, you came in yesterday, we got in the water, no one was ready to practice at all. Do we want to give up a 4-to-1 pass, guys? Why the hell do I need to tell you that? Why? I mean, use your common sense. Sometimes when you feel too good about yourself, that can be just as dangerous as not feeling great about yourself. So it's my responsibility to keep us in check and again, to kind of bring us down into this level right in the middle.
No mic, anything goes. This guy's heard enough F-bombs anyway.
Training is both physically and mentally taxing. And water's not the only element they're up against.
Contact lenses are just beneficial for your eyes overall, so thinking about the time that we spend in the sun, the reflection off the water can cause a lot of damage, sunspots on our eyes. Mine are super red because I like this, they suit my eyes way better out here, and then there's ones that are black that give a different kind of scary look.
Maddie, Joe, Tara, Maggie, Rachel, and Jenna put on blue caps. Everyone else put on white caps.
This is how we distinguish ourselves in the water. Our jersey number, our cap number, right here on our head. This is super important. And we wear these ear guards, not so we can hear better. It is to protect our ears. A lot of times, water polo is super physical. There's elbows, there's arms kicking underwater.
People would be shocked to realize just how much time we spend on just the simplest things. Hands are out, hands are out. And doing those simple skills right, and doing them not just right every once in a while, but doing them right every single day.
Like the egg beater.
This is our standing. It allows us to stay above water and play this game.
The move is similar to a breaststroke kick, but players alternate their leg movement rather than kicking both legs in sync.
I think some of the biggest misconceptions, one being that we touch the bottom of the pool. We get asked that so often.
Over the course of a game, players tread water for about 40 minutes and swim an average of just under 2 miles.
This is what we call our dribbling. So we put the ball in front of our face and we use our elbows and our strokes to almost create a channel for the ball to float. You're using every single muscle in your body. You can even see the concentration and focus in her face.
Being able to pass the ball accurately and to being able to elevate yourself out of the water takes a tremendous amount of leg strength.
One player who excels at this is Maddie Musselman.
Maddie, one of the best attackers in the game.
She's one of the fastest players in the world, and there's moments in which she almost seems like she's covering 2 or 3 people instead of 1.
Her technical abilities helped her earn the title of MVP at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. In 2021, she was named Total Water Polo Player of the Year, one of the most prestigious titles in the sport. In the following year, she received that honor for the 2nd time.
She's got what we call an incredible vertical game, so she can elevate her body out of the water really high to the point where she's such a threat for us offensively from the perimeter with her shooting ability. And then she's also just moves in the water maybe better than anyone else in the world. So her ability to be able to cover space in a quick amount of time allows us to be able to be really effective defensively.
It is one of the hardest sports in the world because it's a combination of so many sports in one. The movements are really hard, so sometimes you accidentally just get hit. I've broken my nose and fingers, like I've broken a lot of things playing water polo.
That's one of the challenges in this sport as well, is to make sure you're matching the intensity and the aggressiveness of the team, but not going overboard as well.
In 2011, Bleacher Report named water polo the toughest sport in the world.
With that being said, it is the easiest sport to quit. And not just quit entirely, but even quit in a drill, quit in a practice, or not necessarily give 100%. And it's my job to be a spark of inspiration, or maybe a little kick in the pants to get them going in the right direction, to push them through a tough period.
Adam Krikorian has carved out a legacy as perhaps the greatest women's water polo coach ever. He joined the USA national team in 2009, and since he took over Team USA, all he has done is taken a very good team and turned them into a great team. Perhaps his strongest skill is getting a group of 13 to coalesce as one towards a common goal.
That common goal for the next few training sessions is to prepare to face off against Italy in 9 days.
Maggie, you go to position 2.
So Adam this morning told us that this afternoon we have situations, and for me it's really important to put myself in a game situation, so in training we're already living that moment. Whether it happens or not, we've been there, we've done that.
Hey, that's a good drive, but yeah, and cut her off. Like, you can get open there. If not, like, maybe you get her to hold you or something.
There are 7 newcomers on this team, which presents its own challenges.
We're a little bit inexperienced in some positions, so we're gonna have to be tougher. You're gonna enter in, and then we'll just attack that. So when you get that ball, you can look for Ryan, but if the defense gets sucked down, you got Emily kind of stepping in right behind it for center.
This is not an overnight process. By the time you make the Olympic team, you've been training at an extremely high level, and so no one came out of left field to make this team. They've been earning their place over and over again.
When that ball goes, so you watch the ball, and then you're making this move down, but then as soon as you go like this to worry about where Maggie is, that ball goes right over your head, right? So, like, we got to make that movement and have an idea of where she is without actually looking, or else the ball's gonna go right over our head. I don't think we're quite as talented as we've been in the past, but ultimately the story is yet to be written. I want you to have a day and a half off before we start on Sunday, but like, we need to be ready to go on Sunday. It's gonna be a hard 2 weeks, but guess what? The Olympic Games are 2 weeks long. It's not like, 1 week and then we go home. It's 2 weeks, and the second week's more important than the first week. So, like, obviously, like, making sure that you're doing everything you can to just take care of yourselves a little bit.
Wash your hands, stomach bugs going around.
Wash your hands. Most importantly, everyone,
Wash your hands, stay healthy. Stay away from me. Don't look at me. Ashley said.
There she is.
It got canceled this morning, ironically. Yeah, some people are sick, and so our coach kind of gave us the morning off and to sleep, and we'll go back in the afternoon.
Hey, come on, over here. There you go.
Her goal was to make that team, always.
I wrote in my 6th grade yearbook that I wanted to be an Olympic water polo player, so my Olympic dream started pretty young. I honestly don't remember writing this. It's kind of cool that my brain at that age was already thinking about it and was like, let's accomplish it. And now looking back on it, I've done it twice and I'm going for my 3rd, and it's pretty cool to see things come to fruition. Yeah, I put it in the sock I got at the Olympics. It's pretty old. This is Rio. And then Tokyo. Yeah, so this is Olympia is always on one side, and then the host country designs the other side.
When she started getting serious about polo, it was more people outside our family would watch her play, and talked about her being able to do things in the water that others couldn't do. And of course, we weren't familiar with the sports. We didn't really understand what that was. And when Adam and others came and we started talking about how she could train at the national level, for us it became, wow, she was all about the journey.
I think Maddie was 15 or 16 at the time, so she was a puppy, and Ashley wasn't too much older.
Ashley Johnson's career in water polo is one of a really special trajectory. She was the first black woman to ever make a U.S. Olympic women's water polo team, and so she's added this extra element of being a pioneer in the sport, and you wrap all that together, and you have one of the most influential people in the game.
I got into the sport kind of by chance. I grew up in a house that had a pool in the backyard. First of all, my mom didn't know how to swim, but she put us into a sport that kind of scared her in some ways, but the fear pushed her to make us experts in it.
I don't think Ashley ever dreamed of becoming a member of the Olympic team, but once there, she saw her role.
To be the first African American to represent the U.S. on the Olympic stage, it means the world to me. It's a huge responsibility, first off, and I didn't understand that responsibility when I was young. I didn't know why there weren't more people who looked like me here.
Ashley's success in water polo not only challenges the exclusion of African American athletes in aquatic sports, but opens the door for more representation for female athletes in general.
My story is a part of a bigger story, and in that context, me being here and representing us and people who look like us creates a space where we're telling a new story. We belong here, we thrive here, we excel here.
This is a picture of Ashley in one of the summer tournaments. She did well, won all her matches. In fact, one parent came to me and told me that her daughter spent all night wishing that Ashley would be sick so that she could win. I have always felt that the game depended on her, always. So if they lost, I'm like, oh my gosh, Ashley lost the game. But I don't feel that way anymore. At this high level, it's a team sport, and the game depends on everybody in the game.
But with the game against Italy fast approaching, it's important that Team USA doesn't underestimate their opponent.
We kind of have a little bit of a rivalry with them. We lost to them a summer ago at World Championships, so every opportunity that you get to play them again is always really exciting.
That's the thing that kind of sticks with us still. I think that keeps us humble, keeps us motivated.
This is the final match of our two-game series between our visitors, the Italian women's national team, and your home team, Team USA. Starting with the captain, number 6, Maggie Steffens. Number 1, Ashley Johnson. Number 2, Maddie Musselman.
I'm just really excited to play Italy. They're a great team. They're one of the best in the world, and they always play with a lot of passion, and that's what we're going to face at the Olympics.
Tonight we have Ashley Johnson from the U.S. and Captain Italy. As they race in, the ball drops in.
The sport of water polo is like a lot of other sports that you already know. 4 8-minute quarters, an all-deep pool. There's a shot clock just like basketball, and it's pretty simple. Put the ball in the back of the net. Most goals wins.
And the captain, Maggie Steffens, with the goal.
A lot of times in sport, a goal scorer gets the media, right? Or they get talked about. But guess what? There's so many little moments happening all around you, and that's what makes the game so special.
The toughest part about being a goalkeeper for me, it's really staying in the moment. One thing is like counting the clock, saying the position of the ball as it moves around. It's really helpful for my teammates to stay in the same moment together. I'm here and there's nowhere else I can be. And if I'm not talking, I'm probably like looking up into the clouds for a second.
And the shot good for the goal, straight to the roof. That's number 4, Sylvia Benyon. Both teams are back in full strength. Fires the shot, and that's the game.
And with that final buzzer, Team USA wraps up a 2-game series, earning a 14-6 victory. Ashley Johnson had 8 saves and ended the game with a save percentage of around 57%. Maddie Musselman scored 1 goal, and Jenna Flynn, who's making her Olympic debut in Paris, scored 3, proving the newcomers have no shortage of skill.
We got off to a slow start, but I was happy the way we responded. I think anytime you can hold the team to 6 goals, it's a job well done for us defensively.
With opportunity to play a game just before the Olympics and get that preparation, making them remember what it's like to play the USA. You kind of want to get out there, get after them, and instill that fear a bit. So I think a win is great, but at the same time there are things to learn from and things to get better from.
We still have yet to put together a full game that we love, but there are some really cool moments there. We're getting to see different shooters, we're getting to see different plays, and we're getting to see Italy in their prime right before they get to the Olympics. So it's nice to come away with a win, but we have a long way to go, so I'm excited.
The reality is, when you've had as much success as this team has had, we're talking about sustained success, it's never just one thing, right? It's a multitude of things. It's a million things that we've done right over the course of the last 12 years. There's no guarantee we're gonna end up on top of the podium, but at least we're gonna be putting ourselves in the best position possible to have success. And if we finish on top of the mountain like we have before, I'm sure it's gonna be an elating feeling, but we can't take our foot off the gas pedal now.
Good. So looking good, let's work. Push up right there, yes sir, that's it.
The NFL is a precision league.
Knock it out, knock it out, knock it out, knock it out. Right there, good.
From high school to college, a lot of guys can get away with just being athletic, just being fast, maybe just being long or stronger than everybody else. Smooth now, good now, good now. Get up, 1, 2, good, right there. But the higher level you get, the thinner the margin for error is. That's when precise movements got to be in place. Now, engage, good, release, good, now, ball, good. Hey, my name is Rashad Whitfield, also known as the Footwork King. I train athletes at every position from high school to college and NFL. I specialize in movement, efficiency, and technique. One of my good friends, Brandon Jordan, he's a D-line coach.
The whole world is your competition. You gotta outwork everybody. Most of the guys there are blessed with athleticism, but you gotta outwork the guy in front of you.
Right now we're in Houston, Texas. Good hot Houston, Texas. A lot of athletes train out here because of the heat. It might be 100-degree heat, 80% humidity. Feel like you're training in the hell with a sauna, you know what I mean? Now, good, right there.
I'm Brock Wright from Cypress, Texas. I play tight end at Notre Dame and preparing for the draft now.
Ready, shoot, good right there.
It's Jason Owen. I played at Penn State and I'm entering the NFL draft.
Good, there you go. Day one is more like the evaluation day, so I can see how they move, see what they need to work. I look at their body type, see what type of move that goes with their strength.
So he gonna hezzy, and then he gonna power, whoop, then he gonna whoop, get out. There you go. A lot of them might be fast, a lot of them might be athletic, a lot of them might be strong. I get them out here, some of them are uncontrolled. They got undisciplined footwork, they're heavy-footed, they may play too low, they may play too high. I can fix all that stuff, and I bring all that in, and I clean all that stuff up. So by the time we get ready to go to training camp, it's go time. Right here, you know what I'm saying? Some of the NFL guys that I worked with in the past, and actually currently still do, Odell Beckham, Darius Slay, Eric Ebram, Miko Hardeman, Xavier Howard. A lot of the boys see me 2 or 3 times out of the week. So there's a breakdown, For instance, if I got the receivers, Monday might be releases. Wednesday might be breakpoint mechanics. Friday is catching drills. But if I didn't like what I saw on Monday, we're gonna do it again on Wednesday so I can clean it up. Hey, B, make sure you get your feet inside your body frame. All right, what happened is, they go here and then tap, 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 and then you start doing all this, you ain't going nowhere. So take it where? Octagon, whoop, whoop, then what? Cone, right there. I've been working with Brock since he was in middle school. Brock is probably one of the best inline blocking tight ends in college football. We're working on primary releases, secondary releases, and getting out of his break. If he's here, Brock, you gotta go here, I gotta go where? All right, good, then stick it. All right, you know what I'm saying? That's the only way that's gonna work.
Rashad's really good at helping me with my fluidity and route running, recognizing coverages and all sorts of things like that. So getting out here, getting to work on that, and just overall improving my game as a tight end.
Good, good, good. Tap, tap, good. Now, good, right there. Good. I think football comes from the ground up. Like I always say, the mechanics behind the movement. Everything you do in NFL is got to be precise. So I'll start right here first. Start feet, and then you start going football IQ. Good. Right there, ball. Good. You see a lot of release stuff where I got to dip in the shoulders, and I got to release it off the pad, and then you always see them push it to a linebacker.
Then the eyes go in.
Eyes go in. Boom, there you go. You gotta move them with your, you're gonna start moving them with your eyes. You see a lot of guys kind of moving with their eyes, a lot of demeanor, a lot of head fakes. That stuff plays a huge role in NFL football because the NFL defensive backs are so talented, so smart, their football IQ. It's not easy for receivers to get off there, to get them guys off their spot. You know what I mean? So now you gotta kind of move them with their eyes. I'm not safe, I'm here, B. If your eyes are straight, bro, keep practicing, think, there it is, right there. You know what I'm saying? All right, it's chest, dog.
It's nice because, I mean, when you're doing practice or weightlifting at Notre Dame, it's a lot more generalized stuff. So when I come out here, we get to focus on specific things, just working that craft and working on all the little things you need to get better at.
Now, good. Right there, bro, there you go. Good eyes, baby.
Today was great, worked on a bunch of route running stuff. Now that pro day's over, it's all about getting back into football shape. You know, do weight training every day and then come out here, do this sort of thing, and then a little bit of conditioning on top of that. But, you know, ready to get back into the football swing of things.
You know, you got some that are gifted. When you get to the NFL, you gotta start taking everything, dude, everybody's good. Everybody's gifted, but the detailed things, the small detailed things is what separate everybody else.
Right there, yes sir, Jake. Come get that. Good word, boy. I've been working with NFL athletes 4 years. I think the main thing is body control for a lot of guys, learning how to use their body, because a lot of these guys are big and strong, but they don't know how to stop and start. They don't know how to anchor their hips down. Knowing how to bring speed to power, and then just movement, the hand activity. But it's feet and hands, and eyes. Attack this shoulder here. Attack this shoulder, now, boom. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Jason, he's a long guy, and he's fast, so we're gonna go speed and speed to power. Oh. Ready? Step, boom. Good right there. Good.
Yeah, it's just more specific and, you know, more detailed. Like I know what I gotta work on, and, you know, it's more one-on-one, and, you know, I'm getting it done.
Right there, shot. Yeah, right there. Shot, good, that's working. Shot before. Good right there.
I wish I can get more time. You know, I feel like I'm getting better every session. Hit up BT, man. He the best. Hit him up.
The NFL is it's a quick game. Speed is second to agility. So you gotta be very detailed, precise movements, and very calculated. It's like chess, honestly.
You can't drop when you drop your hand, you gotta keep them up. It was my first day with Damone. First day, I go to fundamentals. I work footwork, start off with the octagons, working body control. So I start with their feet, go and get their upper body together, and then I put it all together. Keep on, right there. This is my third year with Roy. We started off with footwork. Good. He's a big guy. I work in coordination with him. We're getting his hips flexible, working hands. Step. Good right there. But now we're more advanced. We're moving a lot, working his toe turn, working a lot of stab, more Pacific, running his line, things like that.
So we crab walk vertical. Hey, Q, crab, but when you get ready to drop, whoop, rise up. You know what I'm saying? So I can, right there, you know what I'm saying? Rise up, crab, now, rise up, now. 1, 2, good, there it is. I've been training Cordy since he's 9th grade. He's a wide receiver coming out of Texas A&M. He's a special player, great hands, possesses a lot of release quickness, a real slide route runner, uses a lot of head fakes, able to sell with his eyes, more so quick than fast, but has running back ability with the ball in his hands. Split, now, good. Woo, good, right there, ball. Good. We're working on accelerating, decelerating with him. He got short area quickness, but he got to be short area quickness controlled. Stick out there to him, push vertical to him. Inside him now. Good, there you go. No, inside, boy. You know, we're working on releases. Release is what we got to do to get into the development of their route. And release is just a receiver escaping from a defender. If you don't see them getting open in the NFL, it's probably because they can't release. You know, that's why I'm like, a lot of the guys who are super duper fast, it's not going to be beneficial if you can't release. Squirrel, he ain't going nowhere. Squirrel, he ain't going nowhere. Got a squirrel with him. Good, now he here. Now move, there you go, good.
Just from working out with him so long, he kind of got a feel of things that I need to work on. Different days we might do like releases, routes, straight footwork drills, running back drills, all that type of stuff.
Good, now, good, Q, good, eyes on now, 1, 2, good, right there, ball, good. See, recording is just fine tuning. I have him doing a couple of steps at the line as if there's a defensive back there. Worked on moving the defensive back with his eyes. Worked on release quickness. Step, good, there it is. Cordy footwork, great. That's highly expected of Cordy, man. He's been out here for too long. It's second nature to him now. Good.
I remember when I first came out here, I was not nowhere as quick as I am now, you know what I'm saying? So we just drilled all of that, like we went hard on it. I definitely elevated my game a whole lot working with him for those years. Everybody good at this level, you know what I'm saying? So you can't really miss a step as you could like in college or high school because everybody at the top of their game at this level. Doing these things right here just keep me sharp, you know what I'm saying? So it definitely helped.
Living in Texas, football's king out here. I played football from Little League, from middle school, high school, but I battled a bunch of injuries in high school. So I walked on to U of H, but I didn't get any opportunity to play up there because I got injured again. Being a kinesiology major kind of helped me understand how the body moves, you know. The injuries is what got me to where I'm at now, though. You know, they helped me understand how the body works and then how athletes are supposed to move on the field. So I figured out a lot of different ways to get point A to point B without a lot of strenuous movements. A lot of coaches they can tell them what to do, but they can't show them. Man, we visual learners, all right? You can't tell them what to do, all right? They want to see you do it. You got to explain how it benefits them, right? After you explain, you got to demonstrate. Movement efficiency is key. Usually when somebody gets beat, whether it's O-line, D-line, or receiver, cornerback, you know, somebody moving better than the other. Somebody hands quicker than the other. NFL, you can't just get by athleticism. You got to start getting more detailed and start really honing in your craft. For guys that aren't working with me, you know, they don't want to be great. You know, I can tell you that right now, just off my energy alone. But once they come out here, they don't leave.
The U.S. artistic swimming team may be on the brink of an unbelievable comeback. It's been 16 years since U.S. artistic swimming has qualified for the Olympics as a team. After a long and calculated road to the Olympic qualifiers in February 2024, they waited, breathlessly, to see if they'd broken their streak.
All the years of hard work, everything kind of just like came into that one moment.
We filmed with the team in June 2024 as they prepared for their final showdown at the World Cup Super Final in Budapest, Hungary, before the Paris Games. They're setting out to prove they've got what it takes to top the podium in Budapest and beyond. And they have a secret weapon.
Andrea Fuentes.
Andrea Fuentes.
Andrea would be the right answer.
As soon as she came to take over the national team program, things just started to turn around.
One more time, extremely precise. I don't need nobody to tell me it's a tough sport, I know. It's like upside down, no breathing, the cardio is super high. So if you think about it, it's a crazy sport.
So what exactly makes artistic swimming so difficult? And what is Andrea's game plan to make Team USA
USA, we move as one!
second to none?
So we train 6 days a week, 8 hours a day, sometimes more. We wake up usually starting around 6 and we do land warm-up, so just making sure our body's nice and nimble before we start strength training. And then we do land rolls, so that's when we go through the movements on land.
Do it again like this.
5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. Let's do the first one.
Andrea Fuentes was named head coach in 2018. She's a 4-time Olympic medalist and a 16-time World Championship medalist. And she's been strategically working to train Team USA for an Olympic comeback.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The team will be competing in 3 events.
7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Team free, technical, and acrobatics.
Okay, that was good. Took you 4 times. 4 times, that's good. Our goal is 3 always. Okay, so that we can move through these things. And then it also means that you're retaining that information.
Artistic swimming is basically, it's a combination of gymnastics, swimming, dance, water polo with the way we move our legs, like so many skills combined into one. You'll have the one girl who's the flyer, so she goes off of all the lifts on top, she does the flips and the tricks.
Flyers are thrown 5 to 7 feet into the air, all from a platform of athletes treading water beneath them.
And the rest of us are just supporting pushers, so we're either pushing, with our hands, we're holding a foot and pushing it up, and our job is basically to create a floor for the base and the flyer together. We have to perform these movements synchronized to music.
And they're treading water through all those lifts, thrusts, and upside-down footwork, which are called hybrids.
Once we get in the water, we warm up to make sure our heart rate gets up. And then we'll start our routine. So we'll kind of like go upside down and make sure that our balance is good in the water, and then we'll start.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2.
One of the most tedious aspects of training for an artistic swimming team is repetition. But it's what helps ensure a team is consistent and is a key element to success.
Make sure that Audrey, from here you don't go like this, but also the leg of Dan is doing this. Let's go like super long. Yeah, much better, Audrey, this, yes.
Usually when something's good, it's almost like bad news because that means you have to do it twice.
Nice, so much better.
So when something's good, they're like, okay, let's make sure it wasn't luck.
One of the standout players under Andrea this year is Daniela Ramirez. She's a third-generation artistic swimmer and two-time bronze medalist at the 2024 World Aquatics Championships.
Yes, this is the last steps, the last 100 meters, yes? You're not giving up. You're going for it max, yes? All your strength.
5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 3. Left with your left arm though, so you put your right arm. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1.
Yeah, keep this high, give it up, give it up. Oh, you're higher, you can do it. Let's go! Let's go, let's go! Let's go, let's go! Let's go! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. I'm sorry, 3, 4, 5. I'll do back leg in your split. Guys, only one hybrid. Let's go, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. 1, 2, 3. That bottom right arm. This right arm is open. Yes. Let's go. His hands. Yes, we pass over and now move together. Danny Woodpecker. Diana, Kobe. There, Diana. Let's go. Good. Yes, team, let's go now. Who is winning, them or you? Let's go. Well done. Okay, you just step up. Set, up. You go. Forward. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. And now, more. Yes.
We're having moments of brilliance, but not at the same time.
No. It's because you have your leg flying, so it goes forward. Try to touch your knee, and then you will not have this problem. And you turn with the toes, like this. And you turn with this part inside, and make the toes go vertical.
Noticeably missing from today's practice is veteran Anita Alvarez, who's been on the national team for nearly a decade. Anita is another secret weapon for Andrea, along with Daniela. She's a two-time Olympian who medaled in duets at Tokyo in 2020 and at Rio de Janeiro in 2016. And she's currently recovering from a hamstring injury.
It's frustrating from an athlete point of view, but I had, shorter practice today, but trying to keep the breath work, so I'm upside down holding my breath for the same amount of time, but just not moving my leg as much.
The average human can hold their breath for 30 to 90 seconds, but some experienced synchronized swimmers can train to hold their breath for up to 5 minutes.
When you're upside down, let's say that the maximum amount of time underwater is 20-25 seconds, which seems easy, but when you have your heart rate at 200 beats per minute, you really feel the need of breathing.
That's one of the trickiest parts of our sport that people don't realize is we're having to hold our breath, but at the same time we're having to think about and do so many other things. We have to move and be on count.
Goggles are not permitted during competitions, so swimmers do all this with the added difficulty of keeping their eyes open underwater.
We have to be spotting our teammates and make sure that we're in the perfect spacing and in line with this person.
When we put our legs up, that's called a hybrid, and those are worth the most just because of difficulty scores.
A hybrid is defined as having a combination of 2 or more movements performed with lower limbs with intentional apnea. In other words, underwater with the head below hip level.
Remember, we're getting a score on those. Done. Throw it up. Yes, you can turn a little bit further into
In addition to pattern changes, teams can also earn higher scores by traveling during a hybrid.
I think this routine is the most challenging, probably physically. It's the hardest to go into because you're underwater probably the longest chunks of time you're underwater, and it's a lot shorter than the other ones, so it's a lot more intense. So we have to pack in everything all at the same time, and there's no really time for rest.
To help perfect their form, technique, and execution, the team uses underwater cameras to capture the routines for playback.
That was not bad.
Our acrobatics coach is coming at 12, and we're gonna work on acrobatics with a camera that has the ability to film underwater and above the water, so we can see what's going on underwater to correct for the pushers.
There are so many more moves, but the eye can't catch, you know, all the minute details. That's why you see coaches using iPads and every kind of camera technology possible. When you can catch all of it, it makes the final product even greater.
We have a guest here today, which is Tammy McGregor, Olympic gold medalist in our sport. Yeah, so with video, sometimes looking at it almost makes it worse because it makes you feel like you look bad, so like your confidence goes a little bit down. But having her tell you to do something, I think, and exaggerating that correction really makes things better, especially with like extension, just like really activating the quads, like making sure your hamstrings are really activated. Like having her here has been really productive for us. So we've just been like trying to like listen and absorb everything from her. So that was pretty much our whole practice, but because she's here, we have to make sure that we do the hard stuff too.
I think the jump could be a little more aggressive into that one, right? Because you've got a little bit more fatigue than you do for the first thrust, so. Give them a straight dance on the freestyle. Good one.
Nice.
This second map is so much better since we work on it. Danny, you gotta get your feet under.
One last one.
And you're doing much better on the counts of the butterfly, but I still feel like you're enjoying. Instead of doing it like you do the flying fish, I mean, stretch it up.
We were doing an element butterfly, and I really was screwing it up today. So Tammy was yelling at me today, but it's all good. Like it's a correction that I had yesterday that is transferring over today, and I got it like 50% of the time. So yeah, just straighten it out.
Between the coaches and the athletes, everyone here is so passionate about what we do, and we have to be because, you know, you'll see some of the conditions that we're in, and we're not paid, and just, you know, like a lot of us are working other jobs or going to school, so that's just pure passion to be able to give up, you know, sacrifice so much and give up so many other opportunities in life to be here for 8+ hours every single day.
It's hard to believe that she's an Olympian. I mean, the odds of becoming an Olympian are pretty small. This is our Olympic wall over here. Rio, stop. And this is Rio, named after Rio de Janeiro, the Olympics.
Yep. Got him in 2017.
Anita started dreaming about the Olympic team probably when she was about 12. We always watched the Olympics as a family.
And we were watching, she's like, well, how old do you have to be? And I said, I think you have to be 16.
And Anita started processing that. She's like, well, wait.
Well, so technically I can be in the next Olympics. I said, yeah, technically you can.
And then that's when she really started, you know, thinking about the Olympic dream. All right, so this is Anita's room. We have all her medals are over here. That was her first summer. That picture up there was her first summer on the national team. This is cool. This is something they give the Olympians. It's like a big yearbook. One of my favorite pictures from the Olympics. Now they made the Olympics, and now it's like, they could really possibly get a medal. So it's super exciting.
Would it be nice for them to get a gold? Yeah, would it be nice for them to get any kind of medal? Yeah, but it would be really nice to get a gold.
We were always a sports family. It doesn't matter what we did, we had to do some kind of a sport.
Have you spoken to Danny recently?
I have. Yesterday, they had a Team USA for water polo was doing an exhibition yesterday, and they got to do the halftime show. she texted me and she was, "Dad, it was a bomb." And inside of me, I was like, bombing is like bad, but I guess it's good. So nowadays it's good.
Daniela, as an athlete, as she is right now today, it's like she has these blinders on right now and she's laser focused on the task ahead, which is the Olympics.
Really proud that she's Latina, she's from Venezuela. But more than anything, I think that she represents our way of life. Thank you to a country that gave us so much. And I get emotional because I've had the greatest opportunity, basically because I came here when I was young, in such an amazing country. Having a kid represent the United States, it's such an honor.
This is it, the last stop for the U.S. artistic swimming team to show they have what it takes to bring home an Olympic medal.
And look at this first acrobatic move. And now a 10.85 hybrid with 6 pattern changes.
My goal in Budapest is to keep the difficulty, like we're practicing the hard one, but we were gonna show just the last minute an easier one, so they get to work on the Olympic routine. But one day before, I'm gonna take some things away to make it easier, so they feel stronger and more confident. Try to beat our rivals with less difficulty, but better execution.
And the height that she got there. They took gold in the technical team. They took gold in the acrobatic team. Have they done it again? Wow, 346.610. United States of America have done it again. It's the gold. They've won gold in all of the team events.
This gold medal sweep has proven Andrea's strategy is working. But they haven't reached their goal just yet. With the biggest challenge still to come, Team USA will need to stay laser focused on training if they hope to win gold at the Olympics. There's more than glory riding on this. An Olympic medal victory could signal a change in tide for Team USA's future in the sport.
When you get back in the medal game, a lot changes with your funding. You know, there's a lot of these things that people don't think about that go into the success of a sport and a team and are results of winning medals.
If we win gold, I not only celebrate, I jump from the Tour Eiffel with a parachute. If we don't make the podium, we already made history, but I don't want to feel that we failed because we already did something unbelievable.
This is Julian David. At 19 years old, he's New Zealand's fastest speed climber. He's only been competing internationally for 2 years, but he's already closing the gap on his global competitors. At the time of filming, the world record for men's speed climbing was 4.79 seconds. In March 2024, Julian got his personal best down to 5.6 seconds.
Speed climbing is a sport of millimeters. Your foot can miss the point of a hold and hit it 20 mils to the wrong side and basically the run's over for you, you know.
Julian is completing a lightning-fast practice run at the IFSC World Cup in Chamonix, France, before the main event of the day, the qualifiers.
Sometimes I'll be quite nervous heading into a competition just because, you know, it's a World Cup. You know, it's our biggest event aside from the Olympics.
The wall in Chamonix is always quite a tricky wall to race on. A lot of guys slip or fall, and this does create opportunities if you can put together a really good run, especially at the moment with a lot of pressure on the athletes for the Olympics.
He's very passionate, very driven, very, very talented. He's just shot to the top over just a couple of years.
The numbers we're seeing, the strength, characteristics and power is just pretty phenomenal.
Sometimes he's very frustrating because he's so good.
Like a year ago, I was only national champion. I try not to think about it too much because that's bad for ego.
At his current personal best time, Julian is climbing the 4.5-story wall in the same amount of time it takes Usain Bolt to run about 60 meters.
Like the margin of error when you're going that fast, it's too easy to slip to call. Like it's pretty impossible to bet on somebody to win.
We always say anything can happen in speed.
So in a sport like speed climbing, where every millisecond counts and even the best laid plans can be derailed in an instant, how do elite athletes improve their odds of winning?
I'm training twice a day, every day apart from Saturday and Sunday. I'm actually the one that is known for not stretching as much as they should. So for me it's a bit boring, but you have to do it. It's something I need to get used to and do more of, is stretch, to be honest. So today we're focusing on, we're doing 12 runs at 90%. Basically consistency is the whole point of, in competition, is who is the most consistent on the day. So me doing 12 runs at 90%, we would never do that in competition. We won't run that much. Focusing on not slipping and still maintaining, going as fast as we can. So I've got this little competition, you may have heard of it, it's called the Olympics.
2024 marks the very first time speed climbing is being judged as a standalone event in the Olympics. It made an appearance in the 2020 Olympics, but only in combination with the other disciplines of sport climbing. We filmed with Julian and his teammate Sarah Tetzlaff just a few short months before they headed to Paris to make history for New Zealand.
A lot of planning and preparation and repetition of the moves goes onto the training, and to the point where it just gets a bit boring, this repetition that we do. We've got our climbing wall set up here. We've had this set up since 2019. I built it in association with the club for the Olympic qualifying event before the Tokyo event. We finished it probably around about 4 minutes before the event started.
Me and Sarah are the first speed climbers qualified from New Zealand to go to climbing, and speed climbing specifically, so yeah, pretty stoked.
Me and Julian have been training together for maybe 4 years now, but full-time together for just over 2 years.
We're gonna race.
So what does that mean?
Both of us are gonna sprint up the wall, and the first one to get to the top gets bragging rights for the rest of the day. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, you're just the better person. Superior, if you will.
So Sarah, how do you feel about this race?
Oh, I feel pretty good about this race. Yep, feeling confident, cool, calm, collected.
I'm really nervous because if she beats me, I'm screwed.
If you look at Julian and Sarah together, Sarah is this perfectionist athlete that likes to analyse things a lot, whereas Julian doesn't like the analysis so much.
Speed climbing is a discipline of sport climbing where athletes compete for the fastest time. Officially regulated walls are 15 meters high with a continuous overhang of 5 degrees. It takes an experienced climber about 30 seconds to reach the top, while speed climbers do it in less than 10 seconds. Unlike other types of climbing, where climbers seek the path of least resistance, speed climbers look for the most direct route to the top. The speed route has been the same for more than a decade, and climbers practice it year-round to ingrain in their minds and muscles the sequence of movements that gets them to the top as fast as possible.
So the holds and the wall remain exactly the same, but each person that's racing on the wall does this slightly differently, finding out their individual, we call it beta, finding out what beta works best for them.
Beta is essentially a strategy for scaling a climb. Different climbers use different beta to play to their strengths.
The beta is the way that an athlete climbs the climb, and this changes from each athlete. It's based on whether you are really powerful, or whether you're more dynamic, or whether you're an elastic athlete versus a strength athlete, and so every athlete has slightly different beta.
In speed climbing, performance depends on how quickly you can use your energy. Humans are capable of large bursts of power over short intervals, but that energy can deplete quickly. And you're also battling gravity.
You want to think about it as less as possible, you got another run to do. In training, it's more just focusing on what was good on the wall. So for this one, for example, that's not my fastest time at all, but I did really well at the top section, the end bit. Despite not having as good a start, I recovered well. So
when Julian started speed climbing in 2022, his personal best was 8.71 seconds. A year later, he won gold at the 2023 Youth World Championships for speed climbing. And just 3 months later, he qualified for the Olympics at the IFSC Sport Climbing Oceania Qualifier in Melbourne, with a winning time of 6.77 seconds. Julian has made huge strides in 2 short years, but he still has room to grow if he wants to rival the best speed climbers in the world. At the 2024 IFSC Speed Qualifications in China, Sam Watson on Team USA set a new world record, 4.79 seconds. That put Julian within a second of the fastest speed climber in the world. 0.81 seconds to be exact.
He's still young, he's still developing as an athlete, and he's learning a lot on the way.
Think about me, like my life, a 19-year-old going to the Olympics is pretty, it's hard to wrap my head around really. It's just such a hyped up thing, it's the pinnacle of my sport. I was at school last year and all these kids coming up to me, like they almost put me on a pedestal and be like, oh, I think you're so cool, like what you're doing is awesome. But it's weird because I'm the same age as them, but they're all, I don't know, partying and whatever. They look at me and think I'm lame for not partying, but then I'm doing this. I've tried doing what I do with other sports, and I just couldn't, I didn't like it. Like getting up early, I'd be like, nah man, I want to stay in bed. But for climbing, I'm excited, I want to get up and get on with the day, get climbing,
So what happened there?
You didn't get that, did you?
Sorry, what?
You didn't get that?
Well, yeah, can you explain what happened?
I drive by down the hold. I don't know why. Misplaced hands, maybe.
That's embarrassing.
It's really embarrassing, yeah. It's probably the worst thing that can happen to you, actually. Apart from false starting. Would you rather false start or do that?
Do you have any advice for him? Because that shows.
Oh, well, I gave him good advice beforehand. I said he needs to stick it. And then that happened. So I don't think my advice worked.
I need some more motivation or some more advice. Come on, give me something.
That's all I have.
Ned, got some motivation. If you need some advice not to do what I did, motivation, go that way. So this is my bedroom. I got up here all the photos from when I won Youth Worlds. I've got the medal here from the IFSC. All of these are from nationals. As you can see, I've still got a bit of room for medals, and whatever I do manage to win, I've already got a little token here. I'll add it to the board. I got some room still. I'm gonna go to IFSC Melbourne. I think it was live streamed here. Speed finals. There we go. That's us. At this point here, usually you'd be quite nervous, but I'm just in the zone, Another race. Good start, flowing through. So if you saw there, Hayden, he slipped. And in my mind, because you can tell in your peripheral vision, I thought he'd fallen off the wall completely. I saw he stopped, I thought he'd fallen off the wall completely, and I just stopped to celebrate. There was no bad intention. I wasn't trying to, it was just the emotion that got to me. Something I'll never do again.
His qualification was a little bit of a controversial race. He stopped right before the stop pad and celebrated a little early. And the other runner was coming up on the wall pretty fast, so it was a bit of a heart in the mouth moment.
But yeah, nothing mean towards Hayden. The guy's awesome. He's a strong competitor, and I'm proud to be racing, in Oceania with him. And for everyone wondering, I do regret that. I do wish I hadn't done that, but 2 years of training to realise, you got to start the Olympics. Never to happen again though.
We do 6 or 7 sessions a week on the wall, and then strength and conditioning work 3 times a week.
Speed climbers build power in their legs so they can explode from foothold to foothold. Pushing off and carrying momentum up the entire route is crucial.
Sometimes I have to push them a bit harder in training than I'd like to.
So they do trap bar deadlift, maximum weight, and an isometric hold.
How much weight is that?
Body weight, 70 kgs. And then they do an iso hold on a weighted pull-up, and then they run on the wall straight away.
Power is a key part of climbing. So this part of training is about strengthening Julian's leg muscles and reflexes.
So the idea is, of this exercise, we drain our legs and our arms because they're the biggest muscles in our bodies, and we basically fatigue ourselves, go straight on the wall, and force you to use other smaller muscles to fire better. Yeah, it feels really hard to move, like I'm trying really hard but not moving that fast. Yeah.
So how many times can you do it in one day before you're too exhausted?
Oh, I think of this session, maybe like 10 and I'd be pretty.
At the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, all 3 disciplines of climbing were eligible for one medal. a decision that caused some controversy.
Some of the most significant misconceptions about speed climbing, and it's a real funny one, is that speed climbing is not real climbing. Like, hello, you're climbing up a wall. I think that the evolution of the sport of climbing has made speed climbing way more fun. I've been coaching climbing in New Zealand for nearly 30 years, and I can teach technical climbing on a bouldering or a lead wall, but speed climbing has been something that I've been in as long as the athletes, you know. We've only been going really 3 years in speed climbing. Everybody does this monotonous thing over and over again, and it's important for everyone to be able to suffer together, you know, but to create an environment where everyone can enjoy that process, because it is hard, it is tough, and it is repetitive.
Now, with weeks of advanced training under his belt, Julian's about to put his progress to the test at one of his last major events before the Paris Games.
We started with 2 practice runs, which went according to plan. The practice runs are just trying to get a good solid run in, getting a feel for the wall, seeing what the texture is like. The wall changes a little bit when the sun's on it and when the sun's not there.
Each athlete is allowed 2 practice runs to familiarize themselves with the wall. That seems like a decent amount until you realize that if each climber takes 6 seconds to get up the wall, it's a 12-second practice session. And that's not the only challenge. The wall here in Chamonix, France, is infamous for one special quirk.
The walls have a friction coefficient that's measured on them to be homologated for a World Cup or for a world record, and Chamonix has the bottom end of the scale for the friction that's on the wall. So it is quite a slippery wall, so your runs have to be pretty much perfect to be able to get up the wall at a good speed. It rewards good runs.
A good run consists of climbers maintaining a good rhythm up the wall. Losing momentum could mean the end of your climb.
If you fall off on the wall, you can only pull yourself back on if you're on the hold that you've fallen off on. You can't fall off completely and swing down and grab hold of another hold and then start climbing again. This is pretty exciting because you see in races, in the finals especially, when the pressure's on and there's people slipping, someone might slip down low and catch themselves and pull back onto the wall and keep going, and then the next person on the other lane could slip up higher and then they fall off, and then they're back together racing again. We have a little piece at the top where his hips need to be in the right position and his foot needs to be across a little, and in the practice runs his hip and foot were not in the right position, so just a little reminder to get him to switch back into the mode that he knew what he was supposed to do.
The stakes are high for Julian as he carries his Youth World Championship title into the World Cup. The pressure is on, and the climb that decides if he gets a coveted spot in the finals is quickly approaching.
I think it'll be my 6th World Cup, so definitely still new and going for that final spot, so we're all happy when it happens.
Once the climbers are behind the wall and they're in the starting lane, you know, I sort of let go of everything. I've done as much as I can, and you know, I have to trust that the athletes will take over and do everything from there.
So in qualification, it doesn't matter if you win your race against the person next to you, you just try to get as fast as you can. So basically the first run, you know, had a real good focus. I was listening to my music that gets me in the zone. I actually into this point where, you know, we call it flow state. I don't remember the climb, I don't really, you know, remember walking out, it just kind of happens. Usually with the first run you take it a little bit chill, so you just get a good run in, and that saves you for the next run. You can go, you know, cat out of the bag, full beans, go as fast as you like. Yeah, but sometimes it doesn't go to plan. And the second run was much the same, except I slipped at the very end, which is a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. Yeah, so I didn't qualify for finals, unfortunately. It was 5.36 to make it to finals, and I got a 5.44, so close. And my second run was quicker in my second qualification run, but I slipped at the very end and got 5.5, so I'm still happy that I managed to get a quick time. But I think next time in Briançon, I'll make finals, hopefully. Yeah, with a good time.
Today's competition is a stark reminder that in speed climbing, even the most skilled athletes can face unexpected challenges. It's a testament to the unforgiving nature of the sport, where the outcome isn't always decided by who's the best, but by a split-second twist of fate.
Julian ran 5.44 as his fastest time in qualification today. It was his best competition run that he's done ever, and he broke the New Zealand record and the Oceania record, so we're pretty happy.
What's happening in a month?
Wow, Julian is off to the Olympics.
Are you going as well?
We are absolutely going. Wouldn't miss it for the world. Yeah.
Yeah. What an honour, and at least, you know, for myself, a feeling of immense gratitude for the opportunity and what it represents.
The Briançon will be the last competition before the Olympics, and then I'll have maybe a couple of weeks of training before I head into the village.
Just a week before the start of the Paris Games, Julian set a new continental and personal best record, 5.26 seconds, narrowing his gap from 0.81 seconds to just 0.48 seconds, behind Samuel Watson's world record of 4.79 seconds.
19 going to the Olympics is pretty outrageous. I remember watching it back in 2012, the London Olympics, and thinking, wow, I want to go to that. And now I have the opportunity to.
I've got some secret hopes that are my own, but realistically we are just trying to do the best we can do and get close to running PBs, which will be a win for us.
I think the motivation side of it, I guess, is the fact that I'm, maybe the first Kiwi to do this. I'm paving the way for the future generation. We're looking quite strong. They'll be freaking amazing. I can't wait for them to come. And I think in itself that's quite motivating, being the first one to do it.
These three scenes all have something in common. And it's not just the fall, it's how the actors fall. First forward, then right before impact, twisting to land on their back. This is a technique Hollywood calls the suicide fall, and it helps stunt actors avoid spinal injuries. It's just one of many stunt jumps performers use over and over to make scenes action-packed while making sure no one gets hurt. Here's another example of the same fall. That's stunt performer, teacher, and martial arts expert Stephen Kepfer. He has been using these techniques for years in movies like John Wick and TV shows like Ray Donovan.
You kind of want to be like a cat, right? You can land however you want, no matter if you're flying through the air out of control.
We went to his New York City studio to go over 8 falls that stunt performers use over and over in movies. And their tricks to staying safe. Warning, don't try these at home. We've all witnessed bomb scenes where everyone flies into the air. But how do actors fly dramatic distances and heights convincingly while avoiding whiplash and broken bones?
Say if it's an explosion. If you're needing to fly through the air, we have to go to aids, and that's usually a wire or a mini tramp or something like that.
Springboards and mini trampolines can launch them up to 30 feet in the air, while wires can propel them even further. But wires come with additional dangers.
You're going to have more possibility of let's say a whiplash, like on a wire. There is some control, how fast you're going to get pulled, how high you're going to get pulled, things like that. But what's happening to you flying, and you can't control that. So we're always kind of starting from a place of control, and that only comes from experience and time.
Flying on a wire can also be used during a superhero fight where someone is thrown.
It's all the same principles. The only difference is now you're doing it at a higher velocity from a higher elevation. So you have all these additional risk factors to think about.
This is one of the highest free falls in movie history. Stunt performer Damian Walters fell 125 feet for 2016's Assassin's Creed's Leap of Faith. Normally, filmmakers would use visual effects to create a digital character for a fall this high. But Assassin's Creed used just an airbag with no wire attached to the performer. In some cases, like this scene in John Wick, low falls are done to cheat the higher falls on a green screen, making it much safer for the performer.
And there's definitely more complications with low falls because you don't have a lot of time to adjust. With a high fall, you have a lot of time to get your position. This one's pretty quick. Nice!
Low falls are falls below 40 feet, but usually no more than 20 feet. this is still high enough to cause serious injury. Cardboard boxes or airbags are used to soften the landing.
So on an airbag, you have to land almost completely flat in like a starfish position.
To avoid spine injury in a high fall, stunt performers will usually do the suicide fall we mentioned earlier, or a header. A header also allows you to fall flat on your back, but the stunt person essentially does a dive roll to get there. For low falls, stunt performers might not use an airbag, so instead,
we'll do what's called toe tapping, which is where you try to tap your foot first so we don't land everything butt first. The thing is, if you do that on an airbag, it'll fold you like a taco because the airbag sucks you in. So depending on the surface you're landing on, you are gonna land differently.
Roof-to-roof jumps like this one in the Bourne Ultimatum require careful planning and execution. First of all, they're often performed on real rooftops, which are at dangerous heights. And secondly, the actor needs to be moving and preparing for impact on the other side.
When a stunt performer has to do a jump over a long distance from a roof to a roof, it's all about landing properly.
You're just gonna run, try to clear the space, do a roll, just finishing control.
You'll test it with weighted sandbags. You'll test it, how fast can the actor run? How fast can somebody jump not on roof?
Attempts over 10 feet are considered deadly, and performers should be protected with a wire.
If I were to fall off the ledge, I would be hanging there from the wire, even though you're okay because you're not hitting the concrete 6 stories down. You fall off the wire, you can swing, hit the building, there's lots of things that can happen that would not be good. So one of the things about being on a wire is you just have to learn how to move with it. Be aware of it, but forget that it's there too.
Parkour techniques are also common for roof-to-roof jumps for sprinting, leaps, and rolls. We can see this throughout the opening chase scene of Casino Royale when Bond jumps from one height to another.
In the new Boba Fett series, there was a big rooftop chase, right? That's all parkour stuff.
When an actor is pushed, injured, or slips and rolls down a flight of stairs, they need an experienced stunt person who is trained not to get hurt. So how do performers survive the tumble without breaking their neck or sustaining head trauma?
I would describe stair falls, for me, fun and addictive, but super dangerous. You have to learn how to fall to begin with on a flat surface, right? And then you start learning how to fall on a diagonal surface and then more jagged surfaces. It's all about understanding your own body awareness in space.
Stunt people typically wear padding under their clothing, and sometimes padding is placed at the end of the staircase. But when a scene requires us to see the final landing, a stunt person may not have that luxury. Pads or not, stunt actors tuck their chins and fall into a ball-like motion, making sure to protect their head with their arms.
Understand how to protect your head. You don't want any concussions. Not get your ankle stuck in a banister. Your arm or something could get stuck. Those are the biggest things. So if you're getting shot, it depends where you're getting shot. Are you getting shot in the head? Are you getting shot in the shoulder, in the knee? What kind of gun are you getting shot with? So all those factors come into play in how your performance is going to show the reaction to getting shot.
Handgun bullet falls may seem like simple reactions to portray, but falling incorrectly can still be dangerous.
There's lots of dangers hidden inside of any kind of fall from the feet, and getting shot, number one is concussions, not hitting the head. Anytime you start to feel like, oh, this will be cake, let's just breeze through that, take a step back and look at everything again.
For scenes where larger and more powerful guns are used, the effect of the blow is stronger. So stunt falls may need to cover more distance with the help of wires. In this case, stunt people may perform a dead man on a wire, which generally is used with a large gun or when someone is running and gets shot mid-run. A close combat scene between 2 or more stunt people is usually not the same as a regular fight. Most times, they will need to fall from their feet. Fighters can't be too stiff with their strikes or falls, but they need to make it more cinematic while still being safe.
The best performers are the ones who can take that foundation they have in fight skills or martial arts, learn how to make it look dirty and do it slightly wrong for the camera. Because it doesn't look good if you look like you're doing some proper judo fall in a show in the middle of a fight.
Performers tend to use a variation of 3 falls.
The main ones are a front fall, back fall, side fall.
Front falls are dangerous to the face, chest, groin, and elbows, so performers land in a plank position on the palms first and then spread the fall from there. Back falls are safer when you land on the upper back and feet to disperse the energy, while keeping the chin tucked to prevent impact in the back of the head. And then side falls can cause serious injury to the tailbone and shoulders, so it's important to lead with the arm, land palm down, and use the feet to ease the fall on the tailbone.
In the industry, there probably are a lot more injuries in the smaller gags, like the pratfalls and the falls from the feet, than the big giant high falls that take a lot of rehearsal.
Hey! Nice!
Falling from a moving vehicle or train is one of the most dangerous falls on the list for a stunt performer.
You're in that out of control moment, you know, and you're now going extra fast because you're jumping off of a moving object. So all that added velocity is what you have to really think about.
Stunt performers use a variation of what's known as a dive, roll, and wreck. They protect themselves from impact by rotating to break the fall and speed, while maintaining the proper posture to prevent injury.
One of the things when you hit the ground is to be relaxed. You don't want to be the water balloon that pops when it hits the ground. You want to be so relaxed when you hit the ground that you're more malleable, you're not tense, you know, and that helps you survive the impact.
All of these falls are used over and over again for action movies. It's on stunt performers to have the proper training and adapt these techniques to whatever situation might arise.
We'll have people that are professional gymnasts, dancers, acrobats, and different kinds of martial arts. It's really about taking what works from all the different things that you know and making it all come together for the performance.